Young, what would I say to my younger self? Baby, we don't need nobody else. Yeah, we all we need, and God as a back, baby, yes, indeed. Young, what would I say to my younger self? Oh, baby, we don't need nobody else. Cause we all we need, and angels got a back, baby, yes, indeed.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 8 of the I Am Music podcast. Today I wanted to talk about, this thing with Bow Wow. I don't know why it caught my attention, but it did. After I'll share a little funny P. Diddy story, right? What do you call it? But yeah, it was funny to me, and it got my attention that, Bow Wow said, that he was gonna miss, in other words, right, the Diddy parties, you know what I mean? So, like right here, like basically what he said was, well, not basically, this is what he said. He's like the gatekeeper to the game. Bow Wow said of Diddy on a recent episode of More to the Story podcast. Um, he said like BET Award weekend, the past two, they just didn't feel right because there was no emotion, there was no parties, there was nowhere to go. He added that Diddy's absence felt like a hole to the hip hop community, calling it a very, very messed up situation. Right. So, and right here he said, for me, thinking on it, bro's supposed to be on a 250-foot yacht with his wife, leg up, chilling. That's how you ride it out, he said. And I think a lot of us possibly thought we never see this, but for me, it's unreal. It seems unreal at times. I would never have thought that we'd seen him in this position, right? So, all that to say, like, the reason it trips me out is because, you know, I don't know, there were even things about how Bow Wow had been abused, right? I remember when they used to say, I don't know, like a bodyguard or something like that, that Bow Wow had been abused and all that. So even in the midst of all these allegations of about P. Diddy, like for someone like Bow Wow to say it, it shows like it doesn't even matter, right? Like even someone to have been abused, like what matters more is like the parties and all this and that, right? Because people love to have sex parties, Basically, that's what it comes down to. I appreciate his honesty, though, right? It's like that's I think what got my attention is like it's true. See, like for him to point that out, like how he said there's like a hole in it, right? So someone else is obviously gonna fill that hole, right? No pun intended, but like there's that gap for freaking again, no pun intended. There's that gap for like someone else to come with the parties. And I'm sure that it's already out there, right? I'm sure just like they said about that guy that they caught undercover, you know, during the pandemic, that the doctor that was pushing all this stuff, meanwhile, like tying everybody to stay home, don't do this and that. Meanwhile, he's having sex parties, right? So sex parties is a thing. Um, and it's not so much, see, so for people that are hypocritical about it, I get with the whole P. Diddy situation, it's more about there's allegations of abuse, right? I'm not sure if anyone's talked about the whole pedophilia thing yet, or if it's something that's there, I think he has been accused of that too, right? Like that. So, but don't quote me on that, right? I think there's all those allegations, right? Not just people being abused, but also underage people, right? So I think that's what makes it like even adds that extra layer of it being a sickening situation, right? Because obviously, whatever people have said it, it's crazy because I just did that episode about Chino Excel, right? R.I.P. Chino Excel. And I mentioned a song that my friend had done this song with him, like I don't know, like 10 years ago or what. And in that verse that he did on my friend's song, on Absent Minded Song, he literally, the last thing he says is something about like, of course, he talks about the homosexuality with P. Diddy parties, right? And I'm like, what? Like, this dude literally mentioned, Chino Excel literally mentioned P. Diddy parties like 10 years ago on that verse, like that he did on my friend's song. And I was just blown away. I was like, oh, wow. You know, that's so crazy that all this is going on now, and I shared like a link to that song in my in the video I just did about Chino XL, right? So it was very everyone was aware about that aspect of it, right? So I guess no one batted an eye with the that aspect of it, right? Whether it was gay people or this and that, no one cared about that, right? I guess in the P Diddy things, it was already uh common knowledge, right? But when it came to like the abusive stuff, I guess that's just I don't know if that's what's coming out now, right? About the sex trafficking, this and that and that and this, right? So that's what's supposed to be taking P Diddy under. But all that to say, like the Bow Wow thing really tripped me out because that aspect of not even carrying him being a servant. You know what? Let me look it up because I want to make sure I'm not just. I know I heard that like back in the days about Bow Wow. Uh, I think it was like a security guard that had abused him or something. Bow Wow abused by. Let's see what pops up. Um, when did Bow Wow? Damn, it straight out says it right here. When did Bow Wow get? And it's not a funny thing, but it's just like bam. Discover. Uh, let me see. Rumor. Oh, here it is. Let me see. Bow Wow just dropped a bomb on the rumor that he was blanked by his bodyguard. Oh, he says, I'll never forget that ish. Bow Wow holds nothing back in calling the rumor downright ridiculous. Oh, remembering it as the first one that ever came out during his career. Wow, and that was really popular back then. Damn, so I guess scratch all that I said then. Damn, that's crazy. See, I mean, I think that rumor came out even before the internet was really popping. So, I mean, I don't know, some people might say, nah, he's just lying or what, but damn, I had never even seen this, right? Because that was common knowledge since he was like, a young rapper. People were saying that he had got abused and this and that. And I guess in 2017 he was interviewed or 2018. In 2018 he was interviewed and I guess he addressed that he was never abused. So damn, I stand corrected. So I guess maybe that's why, he loves them Diddy parties, or he feels like there's gonna be a hole without those parties, right? But I wanted to share a funny P. Diddy story as well, right? Back I think it was in 1999, right? There was this powerhouse event, right? And I was and it's tied into this whole P. Diddy thing. That's why it reminded me of it. So, there was this powerhouse thing, right? I had already bought tickets, I was still a teenager, but I had money I loved concerts, all that. Obviously, I was already doing music or starting to. So I bought like 4 tickets, right? One for me, my homeboy that I was doing music with. I don't know if she was my ex-girlfriend at the time, but an ex-girlfriend and her friend, right? So I bought like 4 tickets. I was like, boom, let's go. And all these people were gonna be there actually. Like it was crazy. I barely remember now, but I remember the Diddy thing. So Diddy was there, right? So it was P. Diddy, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, Eminem. I think he had only released so far the Slim Shady LP, Ja Rule, Al Cool J, Mariah Carey. I remember Mariah Carey because she came out with Crazy Bone. They were doing, I don't know if it was that I Still Believe song and the Breakdown song or something like that. The Mariah Carey, Master P was there, right? The whole No Limit thing. I remember that. Nas and Exhibit. And then I don't know who else, right? This was in 99. And it was funny because we had these kind of messed up seats, right? I don't know if because all the tickets were selling out or what, but there were these seats kind of high and we went somewhere. I don't know if we went to buy snacks or to the restroom or something, but I ended up saying, hey, come here, let's go here to my homeboy. And then we ended up being right next to the stage, right? And it was like, because we had these high seats, and then we ended up, I always used to do that. Like I said in the Chino XL story, I ended up on stage, right? As a kid, like, wow, these guys are performing right there too. I was like, come on. And we snuck in, and it was like right next to the stage, and under was like the doorway where all the acts were coming onto the stage. So I don't know if I told him to go get my ex and her friend, or if I went to get them, and my homeboy waited right there while I went. But anyways, So then we're all right there, and boom, I remember even like Mariah Carey threw me a smile, and I told my ex, "You saw that, right?" Yes, yes, I saw that. I was like, "Hell yeah, Mariah Carey!" That's when she was like at her prime, right? Like she was the hottest thing, right? So that was like I was all happy about that. I was like, "You seen her smile at me?" And boom, boom. I was like, "Cool, cool," because we were right there, right? There was no one in front of us, like by the stage, right? I snuck us in there from these like nosebleed seats or whatever. So, anyways, so then after even the P Diddy's coming out, right? And I remember he's all running out like without a shirt, like he's getting ready to go on stage. And it was funny. Me and my homeboy at the same exact time, we go F P Diddy, but obviously we said the bad word, right? We go F P Diddy, and he just stops. He's running out, like he's getting all pumped up to run on stage, and he just like stops and like he puts his head down, and then he just keeps going on like if he was gonna turn back and say something, but he just like he kept going. But it was funny, it was still like even though I guess it was like 1999, uh, you know, Tupac had already been gone for a couple years, even Notorious B.I.G. was already gone. But it was still like Team Tupac, I guess. So, it was weird that I guess. Well, no, it wasn't even a West Coast thing, right? Obviously, Mariah Carey was there, all these other acts. So it wasn't a West Coast thing, but it was just like still, right? Like so, whatever. Anyways, we told them FP Diddy at the same time, and it was funny. Like he just stopped and then he just like kept going. It was funny. But the reason I was gonna say it reminded me of all this because that day, out of all days, I had this girl. Like it was like the first girl I think I ever fell in love with, right? And we had like a friends with benefits kind of thing, right? Always on and off, right? And we never were actually like we never got in a relationship, but it was like we just kept it like that, casual for pretty much the whole time I knew her for years and years, right? But that day, she actually invited me to a sex party, right? So it was like, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "What?" She was like saying, like, "Yeah, they invited her to a party because she was, she was fine, she was hot, right?" So they had invited her to a sex party, and it was like, you go, and then you could find another person, right, to like do threesomes or whatever. And I was like, man, I hadn't had a threesome at that point or nothing. So I was like, what? Like, I was like, man, I'm already going to this concert and this and that. Like, damn, you're really going to do this to me now. But, music, that's how much I loved music, right? And now it shows now in hindsight, right? After 27 albums and all this and that, like, it shows why, like, music was always my thing. But I was bummed out. I was like, man, like, the chance to be with her and another, like she's already hot, so then plus another girl, you know, probably hot too or whatever at this. But just to show you, even then, right? This was before Google existed, before YouTube existed, all this stuff, and there was already like people, me as a teenager already getting invited to like some sex party without celebrities, right? No celebrities, no nothing, just like, hey, this fine girl got invited to a thing. She's inviting me, so I could be her plus one and then get another plus one, or whatever. Who knows? Maybe you could get more people, right? But just to say that's why sometimes it's like I know a lot of people, like I said, the P. Diddy thing, it's only because the extra stuff added to it. But our sex parties and all that, like, oh, this thing, like the world's gonna end. No, I think that's hypocritical of people acting like putting their nose up, like, oh, I wouldn't go to this or that. Maybe now I wouldn't, right? I wouldn't trust it. I just wouldn't trust probably a bunch of things, right? Whether diseases or this or that. I wouldn't trust all that aspect of it or just trust someone giving me something or, like, I mean, like some weird thing to drink or something, right? Um, I wouldn't trust all these weird aspects of it, right? Yeah. So what do you call it? I remember some other funny thing, but I'll just stick to that topic, right? But yeah, you know what I mean? So these things have been around forever, right? Like it's not like, oh, it's something crazy. Oh, sex parties. Wow, that's so insane. Like, how dare they? So it's not that aspect. That's why the honesty in what Bow Wow said about, oh, it's gonna leave like this void. Cause yeah, people like, especially, you got money, this and that. You want to go have a good time. You want to be able to whatever, I guess, sleep with who you want and more people than one or whatever. So all that aspect of it, I guess, isn't isn't yeah, it's not that crazy, right? Like it's been around forever, you know. Like I said, even that's the funny connection though, that on that day, you know, that's probably the only time I've ever been to a concert that P Diddy was there. But that day I happened to get invited to a sex party, right? No celebrities, no nothing, just like I don't know, like you know, she was just a fine girl that would get invited to things, and damn, she happened to invite me, and out of all things, I guess it wasn't my destiny, right? Cause after that, yeah, I didn't get another chance to go to no crazy sex party or nothing, right? Um, but yeah, so I guess that. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know if you've ever been to any sex parties or anything crazy like that or invited. Um, you know, just that, right? Like I don't like the hypocritical thing, right? Where people are like, oh, this and that and that and this. You know, like it's nothing crazy for people want to have a good time. It's just with the whole P Diddy thing, it's all because of his. So as long as people keep that realness about it, right? That they're not abusing nobody, you know, they're not taking advantage of anyone underage, they're not taking advantage of anyone against their will because they're drugging them with stuff. Like I know they just someone made one of those reaction things to I guess some guy, I don't know if he owned the bar or something, and like these women drugged him, and they almost like they like whatever drug they gave him, like he got pretty messed up to where the lining in his stomach was messed up. See, so there's things like that are crazy, right? And they robbed him, right? I think they robbed this guy. They stole like his necklaces and all that, which were which were worth thousands, right? So there's that aspect, obviously, right? If you're going to these things, um, and you know something happens like that, right, where you get taken advantage of, one that's a different story, right? And obviously I guess that's what was going on with the P Diddy thing, right? And for him using it to his advantage to blackmail people, I guess, where he had cameras everywhere. So that's even nowadays. See, back then cameras weren't high tech like that, right? So I guess if I would have ended up going to a sex party, I wouldn't have had to worry about, oh, someone has video of me or this and that, right? I don't even think the cell phones had the cameras yet, or at least not to the public, right? Like we didn't have the cell phones with the cameras. Cell phones were already around, but not I don't think with the cameras yet, right? So yeah, just that. So I don't know. I thought it was funny about this whole Bow Wow situation. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe you're just completely against it, right? Maybe you're just like, oh, sex parties, that's the devil and this and that, and you know. So let me know what you think. All right, cool. Peace.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I wanna feel this way forever.